This is the Fifth Estate Winning Headlines, your media police post coming to you from Nairobi, Kenya. In this show, we summarize some of the headlines that you might have missed this morning. We also take a look at the political pieces that we call cartoons in this country. Today is the 29th of June 2022 and I am Ms. K.
I am JM.
And I am GK. In case you missed the headlines, here they are. In the Daily Nation, state borrowing 2.5 billion shillings daily. In the Standard, Raila's new demands ahead of IEBC talks. In the Star, controversy rocks IBC's tech tender. And in the People Daily, Munya cools cost of ugali. Ms. K.
Good one there.
Yeah.
The candidate to beat in this election is not Raila Odinga or William Ruto. It is 50% plus one of all the votes cast in the election. And the biggest threat to both 50% plus one for both Raila and Ruto are two: Professor Wajakoya and rejected votes. Nobody will get 50% plus one of the votes cast, and we will have a runoff. Allow me to fast forward prophetically to August 13th, 2022. This is 4 days after August 9th and the day that IEBC will announce the results of the presidential election. It is a Saturday, and at exactly 12 noon, IEBC will hold a press conference and announce the following results. Raila Amolo Odinga, 7.4 million votes. William Samoei Ruto, 7 million votes. And Professor George Wajakoya, 800,000 votes. And as another thing, they will say rejected or spoiled votes, 300,000 votes. To cross the 50% plus one threshold, either candidate needed 7.7 million votes. And no one got it. They lost because of the 1.1 million votes hogged by Wajakoya and spoiled votes. Let me explain these results using science and history. According to IEBC, the total number of registered voters this year is 22 million. But not everyone will show up to vote. Only about 71% of the registered voters will vote. And 71% is an average of the voter turnout for the past 6 elections. This means that the number of people who will actually vote are 15.5 million. And 50% plus one of this is 7.7 million votes. But Professor Wajakoya and his radical ideas is emerging as the uncrowned king of the weed-smoking hustlers. And he could just get 10% of the youth vote. In this election, there are about 7.6 million voters aged between 18 and 35. About 10% of this number takes us to 800K. So what about the rejected votes? Well, in both 2013 and 2017, the number of rejected votes stood at about 1%. However, this year, with all the weed and the miracles, let's say that the rejected votes get to 2% of the votes cast. This is 300,000 votes. This leaves Raila and Ruto to share the remaining votes, and no one will get 50% plus one. And no one can stop the Wajakoya reggae, so the only thing we can try to do is include rejected votes in the count for the final tally of the presidential election and hope that it changes the result. And the only voters who can do this are in the Supreme Court. In both the 2013 and 2017 election petitions, the Supreme Court held that rejected votes do not matter and should not be included in the vote count for the presidential election winner.
Yes.
But nothing stops the Supreme Court from changing its mind. And if the US did it on abortion, surely our court can do it on a small matter like rejected votes.
Oh, that would be interesting.
Yeah. Now, today I would like to damage some ignorance on one of God's most useful but most vilified creations: hemp. Hemp, disparagingly referred to as marijuana or bangi or marijuana, is a botanical class of cannabis grown specifically for industrial or mechanical use. And just to clarify, by the way, for the skeptics out there, cannabis is not man-made. It is not a man-made creation. Neither is it satanic. When Elohim the Almighty created the earth, he himself intentionally put hemp seeds in the ground, for which surely he must have a purpose, because he does everything with the end in mind. So please, all I am asking, keep your mind open as I walk you through the hemp mathematics.
Okay.
Now, along with bamboo, hemp is among the fastest growing plants on earth and is one of the world's current cash crops. Hemp can be grown and extracted in 3 main ways. First, you can extract the flower. The flower is what is used for medicinal and recreational purposes. this is the most valuable form of hemp the world over, the most in demand. According to the United States Department of Agriculture, floral hemp in 2021 in the United States generated $623 million, or 73 billion Kenya shillings. That is just 14 billion shillings shy of what it cost us to build the Nairobi-Mlolongo Expressway. Then there is hemp grown for grain and seed, which is used for either animal or human consumption, just as any other common grains like sesame seeds, like corn, like maize, like wheat, kana kadhalika. The seeds can also be pressed into milk and oil. Then finally, there is hemp grown for fiber. As a fiber, and this is what Professor Wajakoya is really emphasizing that we do hemp creation for. As a fiber, it is used to make a variety of commercial items, including paper, rope, textiles, clothing, biodegradable plastics, paint, insulation, even the next Boeing aircrafts. Some of them could be made using hemp. Your vehicles, all these luxury vehicles we're driving, hemp. Now, assuming the next government permits the growing of hemp for fiber extraction in America last year and on 12,700 acres of land, hemp grown for fiber extraction generated a revenue of 41 million US dollars, or 4.8 billion shillings, meaning 1 acre alone generated approximately 378,000 shillings. Meanwhile, back in Kangema, where I am from, an acre of tea will generate an annual revenue of approximately 151,000 shillings. Do the math here. People, if you grow hemp for fiber purposes, not smoking purposes, fiber extraction, it will give you a gross revenue 2.5 times more than that of tea.
Wow.
Is that a good idea, or is that a good idea?
Good
In
idea.
sum, what am I saying? A good idea doesn't care who has it. And nothing is more powerful than an idea whose time has come. Regardless of Wajakoya's wackiness, he makes a very good point that Baba's government should consider implementing once we cross over in August. If Uganda, Zimbabwe, South Africa, and so many other countries are doing it, we as a country would be foolish to sleep through this revolution. The principle here is simple. Never judge an idea from where it has come from. Rather, judge an idea on its own merits.
And on its own merits, we shall. I think he also said hemp rope can be used to hang corrupt officials.
Yes,
Wajakoya
absolutely.
is elected. So guys, 41 days to election day. And Ms. K last week reminded us that in such a short time, it is crucial to distinguish between what is urgent and what is important. I want to add to this list: do the doable and move the movable. Also, play offense, never defense. First is to do the doable means taking on the easiest available objective first. As long as it aligns with strategy, do it. It means never taking on the impossible. Candidates often fall into the model of politics in which one overpromises and underdelivers. This is intellectual corruption. When you routinely lie to the people, it creates a toxic environment to govern in. Next is to move the movable. The key to efficiency in any political campaign is knowing which voters you need to win over in order to win. That means knowing which ones can be counted on to vote on election day. Now, think left to right with me here. On the far left is the hard opposition. They hate you. Forget about it. They can't be moved. Next is the soft opposition. They're almost as unmovable as the hard opposition, and they lean away from you. But they're not active or vocal in opposition. They won't say anything. So in the next 41 days, don't do something that will wake them up and turn them out on election day. And then comes the huge undecided segment, and they really make the difference on election day. But the more fertile and more interesting territory to focus on begins with the soft support. They lean towards you already as their preferred candidate. They're essential in helping move the undecided. Their buzz is key to developing political momentum. Finally, there's the hard support. These are your loyalists and can be counted to be your biggest cheerleaders. The saying goes, don't preach to the converted, but preaching to the converted is what turns them into disciples. Teach them your creed and the words to your hymns, and then march them out to convert the unconverted, i.e. to move the movable. This word of mouth backing from the hard and soft supporters is the most credible and powerful thing for your campaign. The next thing is to play offense, never play defense. Control the dialogue in the election. And what too many political leaders miss is that you must be actively a part of the dialogue if you want to shape it your way. Now, Wajakoya has done this fantastically with legalizing bangi, and as JM told us, it makes sense. And Trump did this also very cleverly. He waged the most clear issue-focused campaign in memory: immigration, trade, foreign policy, and gun rights. And he was clear and consistent on these issues throughout the campaign and into the White House. Trump played offense throughout the whole campaign and drove the issues that became the total campaign dialogue. It's no wonder that we're all talking about bangi. Lastly, remember, speed wins in politics. Sometimes a good plan violently executed now is better than a perfect plan executed at some indefinite time in the future.
That's right.
So guys, winning headlines, I have to go with the ugali thing.
I really like it.
Yeah,
Unya
very
cools
good,
the
very
cost.
good.
It's a play on, it's a play on the very hot ugali, but also the times we're living in. Guys needed this break, and I think it's come at a very timely, a timely moment. So we'll give People Daily our winning headline, and I want us to do cartoons very quickly. Daily Nation.
Daily Nation, we have a running court, a racetrack, and on it you have caricatures of Professor Wajakoya here closer to the edge, and you have in the middle William Ruto, who's being held back by a hand called the ICC, and you have Raila Odinga and the other candidates, and they are on their mark ready to begin the race, but William Ruto doesn't look like he will start on time when that gun does shoot out. I think the relevance of this is that the ICC prosecutors have concluded the case against Paul Yesheru, and this means, and I agree with that opinion, that they're coming for William Ruto because everything that the prosecutor said had to do with the big man himself.
Yep. Damning indeed. We do Standard?
Yes, now in the Standard we have a caricature here of Professor Wajakoya smoking a joint. Roots Export, it's branded, and with an outstretched arm towards Wanjiko, Wajakoya offers another joint to her and encourages her to try it. She's obviously perplexed. And then in the corner it says they're getting high in your own product is not a very smart idea. But you know, he said two things. He hasn't smoked bangi. But the second thing as well is that this is supposed to be extracted for particularly for fiber, for export, and this is what will earn us some good revenue and good forex to pay off those loans.
Debts. Okay, and in the PD, they're also on the same high on the same supply there.
Yes.
We have Wajakoya on a rocket, and the rocket is powered, it seems, by ganja. You can see the fumes there. And Raila and Ruto are at the bottom looking up saying, "My friend, do you think this rocket will land him in Canaan before me?" And Ruto says, "Salah Allah, he's in very high spirit." So there, PD gives us a funny commentary.
Yeah.
Do we give it our winning cartoon? Who do
I think so.
I think we give PD.
Give PD our winning
Let's
cartoon.
get 2 for 2 from PD.
There you go. PD gives us both winning headline and winning cartoon. Thank you for joining us. Find us on YouTube. Find me on social media. I'm on Twitter at Samasana.
I'm on TikTok at Mainawa Kagema.
And I'm on Twitter at J Kambuni.
Thank you.